The Galactic Empire killed 10 billion humans. Earth launches operation. Extinction. The shattering commander Elena Vasquez floated in the observation module of Mars Station 7. Watching the red planet rotate slowly below, she had been stationed here for 2 years, managing supply routes between Earth and the outer colonies. It was supposed to be boring work, safe work. That morning, her coffee was still hot when the sensors started screaming. The communications officer turned toward her with wide eyes. "Commander, we have unknown signatures entering the solar system. Hundreds of them. They just appeared from nowhere." Elena pushed herself toward the main console, her movements quick and practiced in zero gravity. "Show me." The display lit up with contacts, ships, massive ones. Each vessel was 10 times the size of Earth's largest cruiser. They had materialized at the edge of the system in perfect formation, and they were moving inward with purpose. "Get me Earth Command," Elena ordered. Her voice was steady, but her heart hammered against her ribs. "Send a priority alert to all colonies. This is not a drill." Before Earth could respond, every screen in the station flickered. An image appeared. The creature that looked back at them was nothing like the aliens from old movies. It had 6 limbs, crystalline armor covering its body, and 3 eyes arranged in a triangle on its angular head. When it spoke, the words came through a translator with perfect clarity. "I am High Commander Zarthik of the Krell Dominion. Your species has been evaluated. You occupy 17 worlds in territory claimed by the Dominion over 3,000 years ago. You will surrender all colonies, all military vessels, and all advanced technology within 72 hours. Your species will serve the Dominion as a client race. Resistance will result in extinction. You have been warned." The transmission ended. Elena stared at the blank screen, her mind racing. She opened a channel to Earth. "This is Mars Station 7. Did everyone receive that?" Chancellor David Okonkwo appeared on her screen. He was a tall man from Nigeria, with gray hair and a face that had seen too many political battles. Now he faced something entirely different. "We received it, Commander. Every colony, every station, every ship, they sent it everywhere simultaneously. Sir, we need to evacuate the colonies. If they attack, our people are defenseless." David shook his head slowly. "Elena, we have 22 colony worlds. 18 billion people live outside Earth's solar system. There is nowhere to evacuate them to. We do not have enough ships, and we do not have enough time." 72 hours passed like a nightmare. Earth's government convened an emergency session. Every nation, every leader, faced the same choice: surrender or fight. The vote was unanimous. Humanity would not bow to conquerors. Chancellor Okonkwo broadcast Earth's response to the Krell Dominion. His words were simple and final. "The human race will never surrender our freedom. We will never become slaves. If you want our worlds, you will have to take them by force." The Krell response came exactly when the deadline expired, Captain. Isabella Torres was on New Santiago Colony when the attack began. She commanded a small defense frigate, the Defender, that patrolled the colony's orbital space. New Santiago was home to 4 billion people, a thriving world with green forests and blue oceans. Her husband and daughter lived in the capital city below, capped in multiple jump signatures. Her tactical officer's voice was tight with fear. "Count is over 60 hostile vessels. Isabella's training took over. All hands to battle stations. Launch all fighters. Send the evacuation signal to the surface." The Krell ships emerged from faster-than-light travel in high orbit. They were enormous, their hulls covered in the same crystalline armor as their commander. Weapons ports opened along their flanks. Glowing with energy, Isabella's frigate and 11 other human vessels moved to intercept. It was like throwing stones at a mountain. The Krell fired first. Beams of coherent energy lanced through space, cutting through the human ships like they were made of paper. The Defender's shields failed in seconds. Isabella watched 3 ships explode before her eyes. All ships focused fire on the lead vessel. "Maybe we can take one down." They tried. Nuclear missiles, railgun rounds, every weapon humanity had developed. The Krell shields absorbed everything. The massive alien ships did not even slow down. Then the Krell turned their weapons on New Santiago itself. Isabella watched in horror as beams of energy struck the surface. Cities vanished in brilliant flashes of light. The atmosphere began to burn. She could see the fire spreading across entire continents from orbit. Somewhere down there, her family was dying. "No," she whispered. "Please, no." The bombardment continued for 3 hours. When it ended, New Santiago was a blackened sphere. 4 billion people were dead. The oceans had boiled away. The forests were ash. Isabella floated in her damaged ship, staring at what remained of her world, and something inside her broke. The same scene repeated across human space. 22 colonies attacked simultaneously. Earth's defense fleet tried to respond, but the Krell had planned perfectly. At Earth itself, Admiral Marcus Webb commanded the home fleet from his flagship, the Titan. He had 300 warships under his command, the largest concentration of military power humanity had ever assembled. The Krell brought 2,000 ships to Earth. The battle for humanity's homeworld lasted 8 hours. Marcus threw everything into the fight. He used suicide runs, nuclear detonations at point-blank range, anything to stop the Krell advance. His ships fought with desperate courage. They destroyed 40 Krell vessels, a remarkable achievement against such overwhelming odds. It was not enough. The Krell fleet pushed through the human defenses and began bombarding Earth's surface. They targeted coastal cities first. New York, Tokyo, London, Mumbai, Sydney. Billions died in the first wave. Then they moved inland. Beijing, Moscow, Mexico City. Cairo. Marcus watched his homeworld burn from the bridge of the Titan. His ship was heavily damaged, half his crew dead. He had no weapons left, no shields, nothing but failing engines. Around him, the remnants of Earth's fleet drifted as burning wreckage. "All ships," says Admiral Webb, "fall back to the moon. Regroup at the emergency stations. We cannot stop them here." The Krell let them go. They were not interested in destroying every human, yet. When the bombardment finally ended, Earth's population had been reduced from 9 billion to 3 billion. Every major city was gone. The atmosphere was choked with ash and radiation. High Commander Zarthik broadcast one final message. It appeared on every surviving screen across human space. "You refuse to accept your place. This is the consequence. Your species exists now only because we permit it. Attempt resistance again, and we will finish the extermination. You have 1 week to formally surrender." The transmission ended, and the Krell fleet withdrew from the solar system. They left humanity broken, bleeding, and surrounded by the bodies of 10 billion dead. Chancellor David Okonkwo survived because he was in a bunker beneath the Swiss mountains when the attack came. He emerged 3 days later to find a world transformed by fire and death. The government headquarters in Geneva was a crater. Most of the world's leaders were dead. He was now the ranking authority over what remained of the human race. David stood in the bunker's command center, surrounded by military officers and government officials who had survived by chance or geography. The screens showed endless images of destruction. Burning cities, boiling seas, colony worlds turned to radioactive wastelands. A young aide approached him nervously. "Sir, the Krell are demanding our formal surrender within 4 days. They want a response." David looked at the faces around him. These were the survivors. Some were crying. Others stared at the screens with empty eyes. All of them had lost someone. Family, friends, entire worlds they had called home. He thought about the 10 billion dead. His own wife and son had been in Lagos when the Krell bombed Africa. He thought about humanity's future as slaves to an alien empire. He thought about his grandchildren who would never be born or who would grow up in chains. Something crystallized in his mind. A decision so clear and cold, it felt like destiny. "Prepare a broadcast," he said quietly. "Send it on all frequencies. I want every surviving human to hear this message." The camera activated. David stood before it, his face calm, but his eyes burning with something that made everyone in the room step back. He looked directly into the lens and spoke to every human being who survived. To everyone who lost someone they loved, the Krell Dominion came to our worlds and killed 10 billion of us. They burned our colonies. They devastated Earth. They did this to make us surrender, to make us their slaves. He paused, letting the words sink in. We will not surrender. We will never surrender. Instead, we will do something the Krell cannot comprehend. We will hunt them down across every star system they control. We will destroy every Krell colony, every Krell ship, every Krell world. We will continue until their entire species is extinct. This is not revenge. This is survival. We are announcing Operation Extinction. The Krell wanted to teach us our place. We will teach them what happens when you try to exterminate humanity. There will be no forgiveness. There will be no mercy. There will only be the end of the Krell Dominion. The broadcast ended. In the silence that followed, someone asked, "Sir, how can we possibly do that? They have thousands of worlds, billions of soldiers, technology we cannot match." David looked at them all. Then we will build better technology. We will become something they never expected. We will become monsters if we have to. He gestured to the screens, showing Earth's devastation. They took everything from us. Now, we have nothing left to lose. Deep beneath the ruins of the Rocky Mountains, survivors began gathering. Military personnel, scientists, engineers, civilians who wanted to fight. They descended into massive underground caverns that had been prepared for nuclear war decades ago. The caverns became humanity's new home. Commander Elena Vasquez arrived at the mountain complex 2 weeks after the Krell attack. Her station at Mars had been destroyed in the initial assault, but she escaped in an evacuation pod. She lost 18 crew members, people she had worked with for years. Their names were burned into her memory. She found Chancellor Okonkwo in what had become the new government headquarters, a reinforced chamber 3 miles underground. The air smelled like concrete dust and recycled oxygen. Screens covered every wall, showing reconstruction efforts and casualty reports. Commander Vasquez, David said when he saw her. "I am glad you survived. I need experienced officers for what comes next, sir." "I will do whatever is necessary," Elena replied. "What are your orders?" David gestured to a map showing the Krell Dominion's territory. It covered nearly a quarter of the galaxy. "We are going to destroy all of this. Every world, every colony, every last Krell. But first, we need to transform our entire civilization. We need weapons, ships, soldiers. We need to become something the Krell never anticipated." Alina looked at the map. It seemed impossible. 3 billion humans against an empire of hundreds of billions. But she thought about her crew floating dead in space. She thought about the 10 billion who died in the attack. She thought about the choice between extinction and vengeance. Where do we start? She asked. David smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "We start by building weapons the Krell cannot defend against. I am putting you in command of the new fleet when it is ready. You will lead the first strike." Across the underground complex, work had already begun. Factories carved into solid rock. Laboratories filled with scientists working day and night. Training facilities where survivors learned to become soldiers. Humanity was transforming itself from a peaceful, exploratory species into something singular and focused. A species with one goal: extinction of their enemy. Dr. Sarah Chen worked in Laboratory 7, deep in the complex's scientific sector. She was a quantum physicist who had been studying alien artifacts recovered by exploration missions. Before the war, her work was academic and theoretical. Now it had a very different purpose. She stood before a holographic display showing Krell technology scans. Her colleague, Dr. Marcus Rivera, worked beside her. They had both lost family in the attacks. Sarah's parents died when the Krell bombed California. Marcus lost his sister and her children on New Santiago Colony. Their technology is based on harmonic resonance. Sarah explained to the assembled scientists. Every Krell device, from their shields to their weapons, operates on the same quantum frequency. It is brilliant engineering, but it has a weakness. Marcus nodded, manipulating the hologram. If we can create a disruptor tuned to their frequency, We can make all their technology fail simultaneously. Better yet, we can make it turn against them. Their shields will collapse inward. Their weapons will explode in their own ships. How long to build it? General Anton Petrov asked. He was a broad-shouldered Russian who now commanded all military operations. 2 years, Sarah said. Maybe less if we have unlimited resources. You have them, Petrov replied. Build it. We will call it the Resonance Disruptor. When it is ready, we will use it to kill every Krell in the galaxy. Sarah looked at the general. Before the war, she had been a pacifist. She had protested military spending and advocated for diplomatic solutions. Now, she was designing a weapon of genocide. The change should have horrified her. Instead, she felt nothing but cold determination. The Krell had killed her parents. They had burned Earth. They deserved whatever came next. I will have a prototype in 18 months, she said quietly. Then we can start killing them. The awakening 18 months after the Krell devastated humanity, Earth looked like a different planet. The surface was still scarred and burning in places. But beneath the ground, something extraordinary was happening. Humanity was rebuilding itself not for survival, but for war. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in Laboratory 7, staring at the device that would change everything. The resonance disruptor was smaller than she expected, just a sphere about 3 feet across. It looked simple, almost delicate, but the technology inside was revolutionary. It would turn the Krell's greatest strength into their ultimate weakness. Dr. Marcus Rivera walked up beside her, carrying a data tablet. The calculations check out, he said quietly. When we activate this near Krell ships, their quantum harmonic systems will cascade. Every piece of technology they have will fail catastrophic ally. Sarah touched the sphere's surface. It felt cool under her fingers. Will it work on their entire fleet at once? If we position it correctly, yes. Marcus pulled up a simulation on his tablet. Their ships, weapons, shields, even the technology in their cities. Everything operates on the same frequency. They designed it that way for efficiency. They never imagined someone would weaponize that vulnerability. Chancellor. David Okonkwo entered the laboratory with General Anton Petrov. Both men looked older than 18 months ago. The weight of commanding humanity's vengeance had aged them. David approached the disruptor and studied it carefully. This is ready for field testing? He asked. Yes, sir, Sarah replied. We have conducted simulations and small-scale tests. We captured 2 Krell scout ships last month. The disruptor destroyed them instantly. General Petrov crossed his arms. How many of these can we build? With current production capacity, we can manufacture 50 units per month, Marcus said. But we need to be strategic about deployment. Each disruptor has a range of approximately 1 million kilometers. Against their fortress worlds, we will need multiple units working in coordination. David nodded slowly. Start mass production immediately. Want 200 units ready within 6 months? He turned to Petrov. General, is the new fleet ready? The Shadow Fleet has 1,000 ships operational, Petrov replied. Another 500 will be ready within 3 months. They are not like our old vessels. These ships were built specifically to kill Krell. Commander Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of her new flagship, the Retribution. The ship was nothing like the defense frigate she commanded before the war. The Retribution was a destroyer-class vessel, sleek and black, designed to avoid Krell sensors. Its weapons were all forward-facing, built for devastating first strikes. There were no civilian quarters, no diplomatic facilities, no escape pods. This ship had one purpose. Alina walked through the bridge inspecting each station. Her crew was young, mostly volunteers who lost everything in the Krell attack. They had trained relentlessly for 18 months. They knew most of them would die in the coming war. None of them cared. They all wanted the same thing, Captain Torres reported to the bridge. Isabella had survived New Santiago's destruction, but she had changed. Her hair had gone completely gray, despite being only 35 years old. Her eyes held something cold and distant. She was Elena's second-in-command now. The fleet is assembled and ready, Isabella said. 1,000 ships. 50,000 crew, all volunteers. Alina looked at the view screen showing the fleet gathered in the darkness beyond the moon. Each ship was painted black, covered in sensor-absorbing materials. They looked like shadows hanging in space. The Shadow Fleet. It was an appropriate name. Have you selected our first target? Alina asked. Isabella pulled up a star chart. Zerthuan. It is a Krell mining world with minimal defenses. Population is approximately 2 billion. The planet provides rare minerals for their war machine. Destroying it will hurt their production capacity significantly. Alina studied the data. 2 billion Krell civilians. Before the war, the number would have horrified her. Now she felt nothing but cold calculation. How many died on New Santiago, Captain? Isabella's jaw tightened. 4 billion humans. Then we are being merciful, Alina said quietly. Prepare the fleet. We jump in 6 hours. Agent Kenji Nakamura had spent 18 months infiltrating Krell territory. He posed as a member of the Vrin, a client species that served the Krell Dominion. The Vrin looked similar enough to humans that surgical alterations and genetic therapy allowed him to pass. It was dangerous work. Discovery meant immediate execution, but the intelligence he gathered was invaluable. He stood in a crowded marketplace on the Krell world of Zarkonis, his head covered by a hood. Around him, various alien species traded goods and services. Most were client races, conquered peoples who served the Krell. Some served willingly. Seduced by the Dominion's power and wealth, others had no choice. Their worlds had been crushed, just like Earth. Kenji made his way to a small data broker's stall. The Vrin merchant recognized him with a slight nod. The intelligence package he purchased contained updated information on Krell military installations, ship movements, and fortress world locations. This data would be transmitted back to Earth through encrypted channels. He was about to leave when he overheard a conversation between 2 Krell soldiers. They were discussing recent losses. 3 scout ships had disappeared near the human homeworld last month. High Command was concerned, but assumed it was just equipment failure. Kenji smiled beneath his hood. The Krell had no idea what was coming. They thought humanity was broken, hiding in the ruins of their world. They had no concept of Operation Extinction. The surprise would be total. He left the marketplace and made his way to a communications hub on the edge of the city. The message he sent to Earth was simple. Strike targets confirmed. Krell defenses are minimal. They do not expect retaliation. Proceed with first assault. The Shadow Fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Zerthuan system. Alina stood on the bridge of retribution, watching the mining world appear on her view screen. It looked peaceful from this distance. A gray-brown planet with massive strip mining operations visible even from orbit. Tactical. Report, Alina ordered. Lieutenant James Wu studied his displays. 20 Krell patrol ships in orbit. Minimal planetary defenses. Scanning approximately 2 billion life signs on the surface. They are not expecting trouble. Isabella walked up beside Alina. Their arrogance will cost them everything. Alina nodded. All ships. This is Commander Vasquez. Activate the resonance disruptor. Weapons free. Show them what happens when you attack humanity. The disruptor activated, sending out a pulse of quantum energy across the system. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. The 20 Krell patrol ships suddenly lost shield control. Their weapon systems failed. Their faster-than-light drives began tearing themselves apart. One by one, the massive vessels exploded without the human fleet firing a single shot. On Zerthuan's surface, every piece of Krell technology began failing. Power plants overloaded. Defense systems detonated. Communication networks collapsed. The Krell had built their entire civilization on quantum harmonic technology. Now that technology was killing them. All wings launch, Alina ordered. Target mining facilities and population centers. 500 fighters. Launched from the Shadow Fleet. They dove toward the planet's atmosphere at hypersonic speeds. Lieutenant Commander Maria Santos led Red Squadron. She was 23 years old and had lost her entire family when the Krell bombed South America. Red Squadron. This is Red Leader, she transmitted. We have weapons free. Target coordinates uploading now. Make every shot count. The fighters screamed through Zerthuan's thin atmosphere. Below them, Krell cities stretched across the landscape. Mining facilities the size of continents extracted resources from deep underground. Billions of Krell lived and worked here, never imagining they would face retaliation. Maria armed her missiles and fired. The weapons struck a major mining complex, destroying it in a massive fireball. Around her, the rest of Red Squadron attacked with precision. They had trained for this moment for 18 months. Every pilot knew exactly what to do. On the Bridge of Retribution, Alina watched the destruction unfold. Cities burned. Mining operations collapsed. The Krell population centers were being systematically destroyed. She felt nothing. No guilt, no satisfaction, just cold purpose. Captain Torres. Begin orbital bombardment, she ordered. Isabella activated the ship's main weapons. Energy beams lanced down from orbit, striking Zerthuan's surface with devastating force. The planet's atmosphere began to burn. The gray-brown surface turned black as fire spread across entire continents. The bombardment continued for 8 hours. When it finally ended, Zerthuan was a dead world. 2 billion Krell were gone. The mining facilities that supplied a dozen systems were destroyed. It was humanity's first victory in Operation Extinction. Alina stood before the communications console. Record this message for broadcast on all Krell frequencies. The camera activated. Alina looked directly into it, her face calm, but her eyes holding something that made her crew step back to the Krell Dominion. You came to our worlds and killed 10 billion humans. You burned our colonies and devastated Earth. You thought that would break us. You were wrong. This is Zerthuan. 2 billion of your people died here today. This is just the beginning. We will hunt you across every star system you control. We will destroy every Krell world, every colony, every ship. We will not stop until your species is extinct. This is Operation Extinction. This is your future. The transmission ended. Isabella ordered it broadcast on every Krell communication channel in the sector. Let them see what was coming. Let them feel the fear humanity felt at Krell High Command on their fortress world of Zarketh Prime. High Commander Zarthik watched the transmission in disbelief. His 3 eyes focused on the images of Zerthuan burning. 2 billion Krell dead. An entire mining world destroyed. It should not have been possible. How did this happen? He demanded. His voice echoed through the command chamber. Our patrol ships should have stopped any human assault easily, his science advisor. A smaller Krell named Victor approached nervously. Commander, the humans have developed some kind of quantum disruptor. It turns our technology against us. Our shields fail, our weapons explode. Everything we have built becomes useless or deadly. Then we adapt, Zarthik said coldly. We rebuild our technology on different principles. We increase defenses around all colony worlds, sir. That would take decades, Vector replied. Our entire civilization is built on quantum harmonic systems. Every ship, station, weapon, everything. We cannot simply redesign it all. Z.A. Arthek stared at the burning world on the screen. The humans had done this. The weak species that should have surrendered, the prey that was supposed to accept its place. Send hunter fleets, he ordered. Find their ships and destroy them. Use older technology that does not rely on quantum harmonics. Ram them if necessary. Show them the Krell Dominion does not tolerate rebellion. Over the next 6 months, the Shadow Fleet struck 7 more Krell worlds. Each time, the pattern was the same. Emerge from faster-than-light travel, activate the resonance disruptor, destroy defenses, bombard the planet. 10 billion more Krell died. The Dominion's territory began to burn, but the Krell adapted. They moved older ships into defensive positions, vessels that used primitive technology the disruptor could not affect. They increased patrols and fortified their worlds. The easy victories ended. Captain Isabella Torres led an assault on the industrial world of Krelvas. Her squadron of 20 ships faced 200 Krell defenders using older technology. The battle was brutal and lasted 14 hours. Isabella lost half her ships in 2000. Crew members before destroying the Krell fleet and bombarding the planet. She sat in her damaged command chair afterward, bleeding from a head wound, watching Krellvas burn. 5 billion Krell dead, but the cost was higher this time. Harder. Was it worth it? Her tactical officer asked quietly. Isabella thought about New Santiago. Her husband and daughter dying when the Krell bombed her world. Yes, she said. It was worth it. Dr. Sarah Chen worked day and night improving the resonance disruptor. The Krell were adapting, using older technology that her weapon could not affect. She needed something better. Something that would work regardless of what technology they used. She stood in her laboratory at 3 in the morning, staring at calculations that refused to make sense. Her eyes burned from exhaustion. Her hands shook from too much coffee and not enough sleep. But she could not stop. Every day she delayed meant more human casualties. Dr. Marcus Rivera found her there, asleep at her desk. He gently woke her and handed her a cup of tea. "You need rest, Sarah. I need to solve this," she replied. "The Krell are using primitive technology now. Mechanical systems, chemical rockets, old-fashioned projectile weapons. Our disruptor does not affect any of it." Marcus sat beside her. "Then we need a different approach. What if instead of disrupting their technology, we target them directly?" Sarah looked at him. "What do you mean?" He pulled up biological data on the Krell. Their physiology is unique. They have a crystalline neural structure that processes information differently than organic brains. What if we could create a weapon that targets that structure specifically? Sarah's mind raced. A neural disruptor. Something that would affect Krell biology directly, regardless of what technology they used. It would be a war crime, she said quietly. Deliberately targeting a species' biology, that is genocide at a genetic level. Marcus looked at her with tired eyes. "They killed 10 billion of us, Sarah. They burned our worlds. We are already committing genocide. This just makes it more efficient." Sarah stared at the data. He was right. Operation Extinction was already genocide. They had killed over 20 billion Krell across multiple worlds. Adding a biological weapon just changed the method, not the goal. "I will need 6 months, she said finally. "Maybe less. Take the time you need," Marcus replied. "We will keep fighting with what we have." Agent Kenji Nakamura sent new intelligence from deep in Krell territory. The Dominion was fracturing. Their client species were watching humanity's campaign with great interest. Rebellions were starting on conquered worlds. Species that the Krell had enslaved for centuries were suddenly fighting back. Intelligence. Director Thomas Wade read the reports in the underground command center. A tall man from Britain. He had lost his wife and 3 children in the London bombing. Now he coordinated all intelligence operations for Operation Extinction. "This is an opportunity," he said to Chancellor Okonkwo. "If we arm the client species, give them our technology, the Krell will burn from within." David considered this carefully. "We would be spreading weapons of mass destruction to dozens of alien species. Some of them might eventually use those weapons against us." Thomas nodded. "True, but right now the Krell are our enemy. Let us use every resource we have to destroy them. We can worry about the other species later." David made the decision. Contact the resistance movements. Share the resonance disruptor technology. Not the complete specifications, but enough to let them fight. Let the Krell Empire burn from every direction. Within 3 months, rebellions exploded across Krell space. The Vryn uprising destroyed 7 garrison worlds. The Vex resistance hit supply convoys. The Morphean and Kaleri species launched coordinated attacks on Krell colonies. The Dominion was bleeding from 1,000 cuts, and humanity kept striking at its heart. Commander Elena Vasquez stood before the assembled fleet commanders in the war room deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Around her were the officers who had survived 2 years of constant warfare. Captain Torres, Lieutenant Santos, dozens of others. They all looked older than their years. War had aged them in ways that time never could. The holographic display showed updated maps of Krell territory. Entire sectors were now marked in red, indicating destroyed or rebelling worlds. The Dominion's vast empire was collapsing. But at its center remained the Ring of Fire, 50 fortress worlds that protected the approach to Krelkith Prime. The Krell homeworld itself. "This is our next objective," Alina said, gesturing to the ring. 50 fortress worlds. Each one has billions of Krell and thousands of ships. These are military installations, not civilian colonies. This will be the hardest fighting we have faced. "How many ships do we have?" someone asked. 5,000 in the Shadow Fleet, Alina replied. "Another 10,000 from the client species who have joined our cause. We will attack all 50 worlds simultaneously. We will draw out their remaining fleets and destroy them. Then we move on their home world, sir. We do not have enough ships to attack 50 worlds at once," Captain Torres said. "Even with the client species, the numbers do not work. Then we build more ships," Alina replied. "We have 6 months to prepare. Use every resource Earth has. Strip the asteroid belts. Push the factories beyond their limits. I want 15,000 human ships ready for this assault." The room was silent. Everyone understood what Alina was really saying. This was the final push. After this, humanity would either destroy the Krell completely or die trying. There would be no retreat, no second chances. Dr. Sarah Chen completed her work 5 months into the preparation period. She called it the Neural Disruptor. It was smaller than the Resonance Disruptor, just a cylinder about a foot long. But its effects were far more terrible. She demonstrated it to Chancellor Okonkwo and General Petrov in a secure laboratory. They had captured a Krell soldier months ago for testing. The creature was held in a reinforced cell, its crystalline armor glinting under the lights. Sarah activated the Neural Disruptor. The effect was immediate. The Krell soldier convulsed, its 3 eyes widening. Its crystalline neural structure was overloading, every nerve ending firing at once. The creature collapsed, dead in seconds. "It targets their specific neurochemistry," Sarah explained quietly. "It will work on any Krell, regardless of what technology they have. We can deploy it as a bomb, spreading the effect over an entire city. Or we can put it in a missile, targeting military formations." Okonkwo stared at the dead Krell. "This is a biological weapon." "Yes, sir," Sarah replied. "It is also our most effective tool. The Krell have adapted to the Resonance Disruptor. This weapon they cannot adapt to. It kills them directly." Petrov looked at the device with cold calculation. "How many can we produce?" "As many as you need," Sarah said. "Production is simple compared to the Resonance Disruptor. We can manufacture thousands per month." Okonkwo was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Begin mass production. Equip every ship with these weapons. When we attack the Ring of Fire, I want the Krell to face extinction on every level." The final preparations continued. 15,000 ships assembled beyond the moon. 3 million crew members, most of them volunteers who had lost everything. They trained relentlessly, knowing most would not survive. But they all wanted the same thing: vengeance for the 10 billion dead. Lieutenant Commander Maria Santos sat in her fighter's cockpit, looking at the names painted on the hull. Each name represented someone she had lost: her mother, father, 3 brothers, 2 sisters, friends from childhood, teachers who had inspired her. The list covered every surface. Another pilot walked up beside her fighter. "Why do you do that? Write all the names?" Maria looked at him. "So I remember. Each Krell I kill is for someone specific. I never forget why I am fighting." The pilot nodded and walked away. Across the hangar, hundreds of other fighters showed similar decorations: names, messages, promises of revenge. The Shadow Fleet was not just military vessels. It was a monument to the dead. Piloted by survivors who refused to forget, Commander Alina Vasquez stood on the bridge of retribution, watching the fleet assemble. 15,000 human ships, 10,000 allied vessels from the client species, 25,000 warships in total, the largest military force humanity had ever created. She opened a channel to all ships. "This is Commander Vasquez. In 24 hours, we jump to the Ring of Fire. We will attack 50 Krell Fortress worlds simultaneously. Most of us will not survive this battle. But if we succeed, we will break the back of the Krell Dominion. We will open the path to their homeworld. We will achieve what they thought impossible. We will make them pay for every human life they took. She paused, looking at the faces of her bridge crew. They were young, determined, ready to die. For the 10 billion, Alina said quietly. Across 25,000 ships, 3 million voices responded as one. For the 10 billion, the fleet engaged their faster-than-light drives and vanished into the darkness between stars. Behind them, Earth waited in silence. Ahead of them, the Ring of Fire burned bright. The final battle for humanity's survival was about to begin. Comment for next part.